So, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Sylvie Horiski. I'm a realtor with Sutton Group, Premier.
What responsibilities does occupation and job, like a general job description?
Okay, so I guess first and foremost, we have to be very, very solid in our knowledge of the rules and regulations of our regulatory body. We're governed under RICO, so we have to know the rules of contract law, we have to know the Code of Ethics, REBA, which is the Real Estate Business and Brokers Act, so we have to do all that. And then the regular stuff. Get to know your people, find out what it is they want, what they're looking for in a home, show them the properties, and then guide them towards how to make an offer and process from there.
And what kind of education or training is required to have this occupation?
So it's a 3-part program. The first part is kind of an introduction to real estate. It's all offered again through our regulatory body, which is the Real Estate Council of Ontario. The first part is kind of like an introduction to real estate. You learn a little bit about contract law, you learn a little bit about Code of Ethics, you learn a lot about REBA, which is what I referred to earlier, the Real Estate Business and Brokers Act. And that you pretty much need to learn it off by heart. After you've done that first step, which takes about 12 to 18 months, it's 3 courses, you obtain what's called a provisional license. You're then entitled to work in real estate, to earn a living in real estate. You have to be hired by a broker. You then have 2 years to complete your articling courses. Again, it's the same type of courses, but more in depth. More about contract law, about Family Law Act, and so on and so forth. After that, which takes another 2 years, every 2 years you have to fulfill mandatory credits, continuing education credits, in order to renew your license, which is up every 2 years. And there's 24 credits to be earned over 24 months.
All right. Is there any geographic knowledge and skills you would need for this occupation? Like if someone wanted some certain things around their house, like
yes, absolutely. We have to be very familiar with our farm areas, what we call, where you work. You have to know not only the demographics, which is what types of people live there.
It's a safe neighborhood.
If it's a safe neighborhood, that's number one, of course. You also have to know the psychographics. And what I mean by psychographics is it a walkable neighborhood? Are your clients environmentally conscious? Do they want to be close to everything so they don't have to have a car? Is it a multicultural environment? So geographically speaking, yes, but psychographically speaking too.
Is there any technology that helps you in your job, like apps, websites, or programs?
That's all we do. All of our software, hardware, everything is, we have electronic signature software. We use drones to take pictures, virtual tours, photography, of course, but everybody looks online to look at their houses. So we have interactive websites. Everything is very much up to date. It's either keep up or fade away. So we do have a lot of technology.
Is there any interpersonal skills required for working this occupation? Like, would a more friendly real estate agent prevail more than a stern and here's the offer, here's what I'll take for it, here's what they'll take for it?
What do you think? Interpersonal skills are number one. You have to be really open, but remain professional. Of course, you have to be really good at building relationships too, because what you want to do is not a one-time deal, and that's where your stern realtor will probably not fare as well. You have to have a combination of your knowledge and the delivery of your knowledge. And then you have to be able to build a relationship in such a way that when the transaction is over and they're moved into their house, 3 to 5 years down the line, it's time to move, you are first of mind. If you come up then again, you know you've done a good job. So interpersonal skills are huge, huge.
What other personal interests and characteristics are important for working this occupation? What do you think makes you good at your job?
Me. You have to have a very good knowledge. You have to be able to deliver it properly. And I'm kidding, of course. Everybody has their own little thing. It's important to be trustworthy. So the way you deliver information, the way you gather the information, and how it's perceived, if you instill trust, then they'll come back to you. Patience is huge. You have to have a lot of patience. You also have to put their interests above your own. Not everybody's going to want to look for a house that I think looks great, and I might think, what are they thinking? But I need to be able to put their interests first and foremost. So I guess patience, knowledge, willing to learn, ability to adapt. We're dealing with very many different cultures of people. Some don't like to shake hands. Some don't like to always interact with women. And you have to respect that because we are in a multicultural environment. So that's important too.
If you were just starting off, like just out of getting your license to become a real estate agent, and you say you get hired through a broker, and that's what I'm guessing you're getting paid through, what would be like a estimate, not your exact base salary, but what would be a base salary if you're starting off?
It's a very difficult question to answer because nobody gets paid a salary in real estate.
It's commission?
It's 100% commission.
So it completely varies.
Completely varies. And if you were to ask me the national average salary for a real estate agent, it would crush you because it's less than $30,000. But 10% of all of the agents make close to $1 million. So it really varies, and there are too many variables to answer that question fairly. A lot of agents only work part-time and have full-time jobs at the government and so on and so forth. I guess the best way is to say if you work average time, normal time, you should be able to get between 75 and 100,000.
And that completely depends on how many sales you'd make in a month or a year.
Yes. The average transaction will net you about $7,000. And so you can do the math from there. If you only sell 10 homes a year, that's $70,000. But don't forget that's your gross salary, and you have to pay your dues. It costs money to be a real estate agent.
Yes,
it's the only job that you start out by signing checks instead of receiving checks, right? And if you don't receive checks, you signed out a lot of checks. So that's, when you ask me the salary, that has to be factored in there too. So, of course, the better you are at lead generation and conversions of leads, the better your salary is going to be.
All right, well, that's all the questions I have now. Thank you for meeting with me.
It was my pleasure, Ryan.
Thanks.
Thanks.